And we're live. So it's December 29th, 2025. We're just a couple days away from the beginning of 2026. This will be the last Mind Shifting Monday with Mitch for 2025, but we'll begin again next week with the 2026 version. And today's session is kind of a surprise because we weren't originally going to have a live session, but I had an interaction recently with somebody who's been through the course who mentioned how much the sage perspective moved him, and it just seemed like, if this is something that's that important, then maybe it's something that we should do an event about. So here we are, doing a session, a solo session on the sage perspective. I want to just go back a second, and the whole purpose of mind shifting was that when people learn to be resourceful, resilient, and collaborative, even in the face of obstacles, even in the face of failure, even in the face of opposition, they end up being more effective and they're happier. And that applies to all people. It applies to kids, adults, workers, managers, teachers, leaders, parents, students. It applies to all of us, every one of us in all aspects of our lives. And uh, one of the attributes of mind shifting, which allows us to reset when we're angry or upset or anxious, is the sage perspective. And take a look for a minute at things that might be affecting you. You're we're all held back by emotional memories of the past, and we're all held back by our fear of the future. Like, think, are you angry at yourself or another person about something that happened in the past? Are you upset about some failure? Are you regretful about something you did that hurt you or hurt someone else? Or looking for the future, are you holding back on doing something because it might not work out? Is there a conversation that you keep on putting off? Possibly you're anxious about how it will go. Or is there something that you want to do, but you just can't seem to get it started or follow it through or complete it? The sage perspective isn't the only technique that'll work in these situations, but it's one that a lot of people have found helpful. It's helped a lot of people get rid of emotional baggage or get comfortable with moving ahead despite their initial feelings of anxiety or stress. Now, the sage perspective was actually designed by somebody named Shirzad Chamine. He wrote about it in his book, and his coaching uh, is it's a key element of his coaching. And then I learned about it from taking his coaching. And my personal coach was a woman named Robbi Nierenberg, and she coached me for about 2.5 years, and it was a central facet of the coaching that we did. And so um, it's about really there's four different aspects to this age perspective. First of all, it's to look at an event and that either is about to happen or something that happened in your life. Okay. And the first question to ask yourself is, am I going to really care about this in 10 years? Because information shows or data shows that really about 80% of the things that we're concerned with only have 20% influence on our lives. But there's a 20% of the things that we're concerned with that really are going to have an inordinate amount, an 80% influence on the rest of our lives. So the question is whatever this is that you're really concerned about, something that happened in the past or something that might happen in the future, is this part of the 80%, which means you can probably let it go because it's really not that important? Or is this part of the 20%? And that means that you really have to think about it. And, obviously 80% versus 20%, at least 4 out of 5 items that you think this way, it's like, no, something, in 10 years, this is probably not going to make that much difference to me. So that's the first part, is to take that long view. And the second three parts of the sage perspective center around making this into a gift or an opportunity. So when we look at something in the past, how do we convert it, this bad experience, this thing that's hurt us emotionally, how do we convert it into a gift? Or this thing that we're about, that we want to do, that we can't bring ourselves to do, or we're afraid of doing, how do we turn that into an opportunity? And uh, that would be converting this situation into either a gift about something that happened in the past, or an opportunity, meaning something that's going to happen in the future. And there are three types of gifts or opportunities. First of all, there's the gift of learning. So the gift of learning is, if I think back about this activity, what did I learn from it? Or if I think about doing this activity, what will I learn from it? Because practically anything that we do, we can learn from, and then we can use that to improve later on. So the first gift is, how do I take this, whether it's going to be successful or whether it wasn't successful, whether it's happening in the future, whether it happened in the past. How could I use that a- as a gift of learning? What can I, or what will I learn from it? And then the second part of it, the second type of gift, would be the gift of practice. And that's looking at it and saying, you know something, just by doing this, I'm going to have a chance to do something and get better at it. Or by doing this, and yes, it didn't work out, and I messed up this relationship, or it failed, or this happened, I lost money. Um, but I got a chance to practice something. What did I get better at? So the second gift, or the second opportunity, is the gift of practice. And then the third gift is the gift of intention, which is like, so what am I going to do to basically reward myself now that this is over? Or if I go ahead and do this, whether or not it's going to be successful, or whether or not I succeed, or whether or not I fail, what am I going to do to celebrate the fact that I actually did it? So those are the three gifts: the gift of learning, the gift of practice, and the gift of intention. So that sage perspective is looking at a situation and thinking, first of all, is this in the 80% of things that really don't make that much difference? Or is this in the 20% of things that really are going to make a difference in 10 years? Second, by doing this or having done this, what did I learn? What's the gift of learning? Third, by getting a chance to practice something, what did I get a chance to practice, and how am I going to be better at it? So it's the gift of practice. And then the fourth is the gift of intention, which is, now that I've done it, or when I do it, what am I going to do that's going to basically reward the fact that I tried this? And the gift of intention could be something like, you know something, I, I have this really difficult conversation coming up with my son or daughter, or my mom or my dad, or my spouse, or whoever, somebody who works for me. I have this really difficult conversation that's coming up, and I'm going to do it. And afterwards, I'm going to go out for ice cream. So I'm going to reward myself. That's a type of gift of intention. Or another gift of intention is, I'm going to have this really difficult conversation with this person. And afterwards, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to analyze what I can do better next time. And that's a different gift of intention. That's a gift of intention that's related to the particular event. So, so that sage perspective is then a practice of taking a look at things that have affected us in the past, or a practice of taking things that we're anxious about in the future, and deciding, you know something, I'm either going to accept the fact that if it doesn't work out, it's okay, or I'm going to convert whatever happens into a gift or opportunity. And those, the gifts of opportunity, either the gift of what did I learn, the gift of what did I get a chance to practice, or the gift of what do I intend to do. So I'd like to go through that process with you. Uh, so in order to do that, and obviously can't see you, so I'm hoping that you're going through this exercise on yourself. Is, I'd like you to think about something right now that you really want to do. that you may be a little bit anxious about doing, or maybe you're very anxious about doing it. Maybe you're fearful of it. Maybe it's something that you've just been postponing that you know you should be doing, but you just can't get yourself to do it. So think about something that you're fearful of, anxious about, or for some reason not starting that you really want to do. Now, as you think about that, what is it that you want to happen? If things went well, what would the result be? And what would that do for you? And just take a moment and think through that. If things went well, what do you want to happen? Now, having thought about what you'd like to happen, just think for a moment like, well, let's just say that you tried it and it didn't really work out. Things didn't happen exactly the way you wanted them to. If if this doesn't happen exactly the way you want it to, in 10 years, is this the type of thing that you're going to be looking back on and say, oh, my life was ruined because I did this. I tried to do this and everything went wrong and my uh, I have so much pain, or I lost so much money, or I lost this opportunity. Are you going to be really thinking about that in 10 years, or is this more likely going to be the type of thing that you don't won't even remember that it happened in 10 years? So as you think about that, how does that make you feel? Because in most situations, most of us, when we think about it, is like, something, this conversation I'm having with this person in 10 years, I'm gonna, it's not gonna make much difference. I'll have many more chances for conversations. And just thinking about the fact that in 10 years I won't even care, kind of it removes a weight from our shoulders. And that's very often what happens when we apply that principle, that 80-20 principle, that, hey, something in 10 years, it's really not going to make any that much difference. And that's part of the process of accepting the fact that we're going to try it. And if it doesn't work out, it didn't work out. Now, again, think about this thing that you'd really like to do, and whether it works out or whether it doesn't, what can you learn just by trying to do it? Like, maybe you can learn that you can motivate yourself to do something, even if you didn't want to, even if you were resisting it. Maybe you can learn that you overcame your fear. Maybe you can learn based on the information that came back, like, oh, I could do this differently next time, or it wasn't really that important. So think about it. What is it that you could learn? And as you think about that lesson about what you could learn, again, think about how does that make you feel about this thing that you're about to do. And again, this is another case where probably what's going through your mind is, something, it's really not that bad. I can learn something from this. Now, again, the third part, think about this thing that you're reluctant to do, you were anxious about. You may not be as anxious about it anymore. And if you do it, what will it give you a chance to practice? And how will that practice make you better? So, what will it give you a chance to practice? And how will that practice allow you to do it better in the future? As you think about what you've practiced and as you think about how you've improved, again, how does that make you feel about this? Because for most people, it allows you to be more motivated, to feel a burden shifting. And then the last part is, let's just say you go ahead and do it and it may work out, it may not work out. What are you going to do afterwards to celebrate the fact that you started it and that you tried to do it? How are you going to reward yourself? And once you can picture yourself doing it, whether it works or not, and then rewarding yourself, how does that make you feel about it? And for most of us, thinking about these issues in this fashion allows us to motivate ourselves to actually get started with it. the future doesn't seem so bad. It's not going to be something that we really dwell on in the future. It's something that we can learn from. It gives us a chance to practice something, and we can reward ourselves for trying. So we might as well get on with it. So now, having been through that exercise, think through this thing that you know you want to do. What do you have to do to get started? What's one thing that you can do in the short term to get started on this path? And when can you do it? And that's what is applying the sage perspective to future challenges. This is a You can apply this to past things as well. You can ask these questions about, what did I learn from this? Is this really something that's affecting the rest of my life? Uh, what did I get a chance to practice? How am I going to reward myself, or what can I, what can I do right now, now that it's over? So you can use this to overcome past trauma, past events, and this practice actually comes from, well, the book, Stop Your Mind from Sabotaging Your Happiness and Success. And it also comes from a course that's online. And the QR code up on this top left is an opportunity for you to try out a lesson from that course. So if you go to the QR code, and then it'll ask you for your name and your email. It'll give you a chance to go through and learn about how saboteurs affect us, how we react to situations, and start thinking about how how you can help yourself become more capable of dealing with adversity, and remaining in your resourceful mind. So that's what I wanted to cover in this session, and I hope that this was as meaningful to all of you as it was to the individual who took the course. And uh, I'll see you. I'll see you next year. I'll see you in 2026. If you have any questions, feel free to put them into LinkedIn or wherever you're seeing this, or reach out to me. You can find me on mindshiftingwithmitch.com. Have a wonderful New Year celebration. Hope you have time with family. Hope you have time to relax. And I'll see you next year.